Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Life After the D. I am Coach April Elle. I am a trained life coach, and it is my job to help you post-divorce. That's after everything is done and you're at a point where you are ready to restart, regain clarity, and get your life going. I'm your girl. I'm the one you come and see to help you set those goals, come up with a strategic plan to get your life going again after divorce. So, as you can see, I am in my studio alone today. I have no special guest because today I'm the special guest. How about that? Today, I am going to share with you my story of life after the D. I created this web show because I wanted to show women and possibly men that there are true examples of people who have been where you are and have gotten divorced, and they have done the work that they needed to do to heal and to begin to thrive again in life, to begin um, to live. Yeah, after divorce. So today I'm just going to go through my usual format that I usually do with I had a special guest. There's certain questions that I usually ask, and so I'm going to just kind of follow that format. How about that? So again, I am April, and I am a master cosmetologist. I am also, again, a trained life coach. I have also just recently launched my very first few journals in my new journal line. And so I have to do a very quick shameless plug. The first one I'm going to show you is the Life After the D journal, just because that's what this is all about. It is a beautiful golden white lined journal. I usually have my clients purchase this. So because when we're doing assignments and stuff, it's easy to keep it. It's also great for all of the things that you go through your journey, to be able to write it out, to release it. It's a good healing tool. Journaling has always served as a good healing tool to me. The other one is my Not Your Average Girl journal, which is also a beautiful pink lined journal. And last but not least is the Wake, Pray, Affirm journal. I am so very proud of this journal. It is a daily gratitude mindset shift journal. It is to help you keep your mind positive, especially with everything that we have going on in our world, right? So you can get all three of these journals at www.aprilelle.com. All right? So now that I've done that, let's jump right in. So my story. When I was 19, going on 20, I met this guy, this man. He was 6'7", beautiful guy. We met actually one night. I was actually coming home from the club. And he was coming home from work, and we just kind of passed each other in Crystal's parking lot. And kind of looked over. I was like, okay, and backed up and exchanged pager numbers. Yeah, I did say pager numbers. Some people younger might not even know what that is, but that's how long ago that was. We exchanged pager numbers and ended up calling each other and going out on a date. I remember the date being really good. And just from that point on, just started spending a lot of time together, dating and just having fun. And then when I was 23 is when we got married, and we had a beautiful ceremony. I had the dress of my dream, the big dress with the long train, and all of my friends and my sister, cousins, family members were bridesmaids and flower girls and all that good stuff. The wedding was beautiful. We had a beautiful reception, went away on our honeymoon, all of that good stuff. I ended up building a beautiful home from the ground up. had good jobs. We had everything. Everything was what you would think would be the ideal life. We had everything but the kids and the dog. And we lived life for a good number of years, just having a good time. We did. It wasn't all bad. Um, but then after a while, in 2009, he came to me and told me that he wanted to divorce. And, I used to tell that story like, oh my God, it blindsided me. I don't know where it came from, all of that good stuff. It wasn't like, uh, I guess now, hindsight, looking back on it, it kind of shouldn't have blindsided me. Um, and I can't make him out to be this big bad wolf in the story. I only can tell it from my side. He'd have to tell his side of it. But you know, we went through things that marriages go through, financial hardships and illnesses and other different things. What I will say is that you have to make sure that when you are getting married, that you are basing or starting your relationship on a strong foundation. Um, and I don't, looking back on it, really feel like we had a very strong foundation. We both were products of single parents. His father passed away at an early age, and my father was not present in my home. So I saw my mother work hard as a single mother, and so that's what I knew to do also. Um, Looking back on it now also, I just realized, I tell people all the time that I just didn't know how to be a wife. And I know that a lot of people may go into marriages feeling that way. Some people figure it out. But for me, I just didn't know what that really meant. And when I talk about the foundation, we didn't really have the counseling that we should have had. We were just two people young in love, having a good time, flowing through life. And when things got hard, it just kind of started chipping away. Anytime issues kind of came, it just kind of chipped away, chipped away, chipped away. And a certain situation happened and it just kind of fell apart. And so in 2009, he told me that he wanted to divorce. It took me a couple of years after that to even accept or process that my fairy tale was coming to an end. I honestly, like a lot of people probably do, felt like my marriage was going to last forever. Um, you just couldn't tell me that we were not going to be two old people in a rocking chair, you know, years later watching our grandkids play in the sprinkles, in the front yard. You just couldn't tell me that. I just never saw our relationship ending, but it did. So it did. It took me a couple of years to even accept that. So in 2013, our house was going into foreclosure. I also had my job close its doors. So I ended up moving out and I moved in with my grandmother. Um, and in 2014, he served me with the papers. And again, looking back on things, I'm just like, oh my God, it was just such a uh, painful time, And I did what I thought was best in at a lot of times when I just didn't know what to do, in our marriage. But like I said, in 2014, the divorce was final, and I was completely devastated. I want to say more so hurt. I didn't really get angry a lot. because I blame myself for a lot of it. How did we got to this point? Um, but I was devastated. My heart was in all in pieces. And so I did what I could do, which was to work, because again, I had just started um, in the hair industry and basically working for myself. And I was scared, I was uncertain about what was going to happen. Um, just sad, but I had to kind of put those things on the shelf because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be poor, if I'm going to be struggling. And so I did what I could control, which was to work. And that's what I did for a number of years. After that, I worked from sun up to sundown, sometimes 6 and 7 days a week. Um, and I just kind of didn't deal with a lot of the hurt at that moment. Um, 3 months later, after the divorce was final, my sister passed away suddenly in her sleep. And where I was kind of picking up the pieces to my heart and kind of taping them together, when that happened, my heart broke again into a million pieces. Um, and I also now had Olivia, my oldest, to take care of. And so I moved out of my grandmother's home into a place for the two of us. Again, not really dealing with um, all of my stuff at the time because it was just so much going on. But eventually, depression started to set in. And I remember talking to my coach one day, backing up a little bit. I started working with my coach, Robin May, maybe about a year before the divorce was final. So she's been on this journey with me the whole time. And I remember having a session with her one day, and I was having a complete meltdown. I mean, I just could not stop crying. I was crying uncontrollably. I was just so hurt, and so it was just so much pain. And she told me, okay, now we got to stop. She said, it's time for you to go to a therapist and possibly get medication. And I did. I talked to my grandmother about it, and she found a therapist in a local paper called the Herald. She said, you should go and see this therapist. And I did. I called her up, Dr. Chris Falcon. I called her up and went and had a session with her. I was so completely, when I think about it now, I was just somebody that I didn't even recognize. I just felt like a little shriveled up. I was so tight, um, so just kind of guarded within myself person. I was not taking care of myself like I should have, or paying attention to myself like I should have. I was just sad. I was just sad. And I would just get up every day and go through the motions because I got up. It wasn't because I actually wanted to. And then I also had to make sure that, the kids were okay, um, that I continued to work. And most days I did, the days that I had off, I would just sleep. I would cover, dark in the house, just sleep. That's all I did. And so back to therapy, I went to go and see my therapist, and she told me that I did probably need some medication to just kind of help me with the depression. And I went to go see my primary doctor, and she did prescribe me a low dose of, I think, Zoloft, um, which was something that it was a hard decision to make, to take medication. Today, it still kind of feels weird to even share that with people, but it's something that I have to share because I don't want people who suffer after divorce or any type of trauma to feel like there's something wrong with you for getting help. There's something wrong with you because you have a chemical imbalance, because there's nothing wrong with you for having to do that. Sometimes it's necessary. For me, I did not stay on medication long. Um, that coupled with therapy, also with being in a good church and hearing the word of God, was how I began to heal. And so that might be, your story may be totally different from mine, but that was my story. That was something that when I began my healing process was very important. Um, and so therapy mixed with Jesus is okay. I began attending my church that I'm a part of now, Kingdom Life, and it was a healing station for me because I sat under the word and, I received a lot of love from the people there, even though they didn't know me. I received a lot of love, and the word that my pastor kept bringing every Sunday just started to help my spirit to heal. And my therapist began to help me with my mental. And then I had friends like my friend Ashley, who I always say I can't tell my story without her because she was like an angel sent from God. She would pray for me. And, just kind of segueing into um, the questions I usually ask my guests, which is your support system. Did you have one, and how important was it to you? And those were my support systems. And I believe that um, God had already begun to put my system together when He gave me Robin, my coach, my therapist, people like Ashley. Um, my family, of course, was praying for me. They always supported me through everything. Um, Friends. And, I want to take a moment to talk about that as well, about your support system, who you think should support you and who may not. Because when I coach people, and I've seen it a lot where people are like, my friends didn't support me or my family didn't support me. Sometimes they're not your support system. Sometimes you have to be very strategic and intentional about who your support system is. I had friends to come to me after everything was said and done and say, I knew something was wrong, but I just didn't know how to approach you. And I don't blame them because I am a private person. And I think a little bit of pride had set in. I don't know if it was pride or if it was just straight up embarrassment because I was very embarrassed. I was very ashamed and I felt very guilty. Um, and so I did not let a lot of people in. And I think a lot of people didn't know how to come to me and say, what's happening. So don't blame people for not being there, especially the ones that are close to you, because sometimes they just don't know how. And it doesn't mean that they're not helping and supporting you in other ways. But be very intentional about your support system. And so that was mine, and like I said, I always had family around me, praying for me, covering me, anything that I needed, they were there. Um, but my healing process was not something that happened overnight, of course. Healing takes time. It's been about 6 years now. And I am so much better now, but it took some time. It took some time to heal. It took a lot of, you know, moments where I had to face myself, going through the grieving process. If you know anything about the grieving process, it is a cycle where you continue to, okay, I'm sad about it. Okay, I'm getting through it. Okay, now I'm in denial. Maybe, things will change. It could happen, um, all of the different things until you get to a point of acceptance that this has happened. This is over. Um, and I have to move on. I have to move on. So all of that stuff takes time, and sometimes I still deal with some of the fallout of my divorce. Um, One of the things that I had a hard time with and still suffer with is self-esteem and confidence. Um, Again, I felt like my divorce was all my fault at the time. um, I felt extremely embarrassed and I was ashamed. And I felt like, gosh, people are going to think that here I am. And I tried for a very long time, probably my whole life, to live this perfect life and to do things the right way. And that wasn't, always the case, and it took a lot of work. It takes a lot of work to try to be perfect or to pretend to be perfect. And I did that for a long time. And I tried to do that even up until the end of my marriage where I just couldn't hide it anymore. Um, and so after that, I just felt like, oh my God, everybody's going to know now that I'm not perfect and that my life isn't perfect. So that was something that I had to work through. And so again, my self-esteem and my confidence was at an all-time low. I felt like, man, I'm going to be seen as, um, damaged or, who's going to want me now type thing. And I know that a lot of people probably can relate to that after. But you have to begin to do a lot of self awareness, self reflection, and begin to learn how to self love yourself. Um, During the healing process. Healing is so important. It's painful. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I just did blah, 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 and it was over. No, it's a journey. It takes time. Um, it's going to hurt, but it won't kill you. That's something that I tell my clients all the time. Yes, I can't promise you that it's not going to hurt. It is. But what I can tell you is it is not going to kill you, and you'll be better for it, for taking the time to actually heal. Take the time to heal, especially if you are someone like me who desires to be married again, because I still think marriage is a beautiful thing. It is tough, it is work, it's not for the faint at heart, but I do desire to do that. And so I knew that I had to do a lot of healing and a lot of work on myself, which is something that I do constantly. Even after marriage, it's not something that, oh, boom, it's just done. You have to constantly work on yourself. Um, One of the things that I usually ask my clients is what divorce taught them. And what divorce taught me is that um, God has always and will be always with me. Um, I've grew up in church, and so I knew God. Of course, I blamed him. How could you let this happen to me? Right? And so it made it hard. If I could be very transparent with you, sometimes it still makes it hard because I trust him in most areas of my life, right? And there's some areas like in relationships where I'm like, okay, maybe I'll help you, Lord. Maybe I'll help you, but you have to surrender every area of your life to God. And so divorce taught me that God has always been with me because through the whole thing, he was taking care of me. It was never by chance that I met the people who was put in my life. It was never by chance that things happened in its timing the way it did with my career. It happened the way it did with um, being in the under the spiritual leadership that I'm under now, everything was so strategic and everything was still moving. It showed me that he was already with me. He was already ahead of me. Um, and so divorce just showed me um, clearer that God is always with me. Um, it taught me that there's purpose after pain, because I didn't even know what a life coach was before my divorce. And to have a phenomenal life coach like the one that I had to come alongside me um, and do the work with me gave me the desire to do what I do now, which is to help other people in their lives. Um, Things are not always about us. Things happen to us and we feel like, oh my God, why did this happen to me? But things are not always about us. My divorce was very traumatic. Losing my sister was very traumatic. And other things that happen in life, as things have happened with you. But those things always, if you pay attention to it, lead you to purpose. And even all of that pain led to purpose, where I am now. I often ask my clients, do they feel stronger now after divorce? And I do. I do. I feel a lot stronger. I think that my divorce made me grow up. I had to grow up. I was a little spoiled brat, a little bit, in my marriage. And it was a lot of things that I did not know. But it forced me to grow up and become the woman that I am today. And I'm very proud of the woman that I am today. And I feel extremely strong now. I don't feel like I would have been the woman that I am today had I still been his wife. Nothing, you know, against him, but it was just the pain and the life lessons, the journey that taught me to be this person that I am today. Um, and so I definitely have learned those lessons from divorce. I learned that, you know, marriage is, again, a beautiful thing, but it is tough. And that if it's something that you desire, that you need to make sure you have a strong foundation, and that you are doing the necessary things to be prepared for the long haul. And also for anything that can come up, because while things are all great, you see people who, have these amazing marriages, and I love to see them. But there are stories behind it. And you don't want to just get into something with someone that you're not going to be able to fight with, because it's going to be a lot of times where you're going to have to fight through it. So um, I've been preparing myself to be a wife again, because it is my desire. And my divorce has taught me a lot of lessons that, things that I needed to learn, things that I needed to tighten up on before going into that again. Um, Advice that I would give to anyone fresh out of a marriage, or, um, you know, the divorce is happening. Things that I would tell you right now is that you may be in pain, and that's not going to change right now. But you will be okay. You will be okay. This too shall pass. Um, Jesus with therapy is okay. And that goes for more than just divorce. People are struggling. We are going through COVID-19 right now. And, I scroll my Facebook page and listen to clients, and people are really struggling through this thing. Um, Getting help sometimes is necessary, and it is okay. It's okay. Um, build a support system. Begin to build a support system. That is so important, because there are going to be times where you're going to need people to help you and allow people to help you. Um, that was something that I think too I didn't do enough of. I remember one time with my Aunt Sheila, who has always been so super supportive of anything I've done. She's always been there for me. And she called me and she said, you know, your Uncle Leonard, he he could come over and talk to you. He's pretty good at these things. And, you know, I thought, no, we got it. You know, we'll get past it. It'll be fine. You know, thinking I knew what I knew. Um, you know, don't reject when people, especially people who you know are genuine. Don't reject their help. Allow people to help you. Um, you know, there's a lot of people who don't mind helping you, especially when you've sown good seeds throughout your life. Don't reject the help. Um, Heal, embrace this time of healing. Don't jump back into anything right away. It is just going to be worse. Until you heal, you get into something new, it is going to heighten your insecurities, all of those places that you have not allowed God and yourself to heal. Don't jump back into something right away. Allow yourself to heal. I can't say that enough. Allow yourself to feel the emotions that you are feeling. You are going to go through all of them. Trust me. Don't hold on to anger. I didn't allow myself to be angry a lot with my ex, because now I know that, you know, we grew apart. That happens. Um, and it was what it was, you know? And I didn't want to be angry. And when you're angry, it just kind of holds you up from moving forward. And then bitterness sets in. You know, it's always that one seed, and then something else comes and layer it and layer it and layer and layer it until you're just this nasty, angry, bitter person, and you don't understand why everybody get on your nerves and you can't get past it. You know, get to the core of the thing. You know, peel those layers back and get to the core of it and actually do the work that you need to do to heal, and let it go. You gotta, it's a daily process, but you gotta let it go. Forgive the person for whatever it is that they have done, but most importantly, forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. I held myself up a long time because I would not heal, I would not forgive myself. I forgave him. I forgave everybody except for myself. And it held me up for a long time. Um, and don't feel like, you know, it's all your fault. Even if it is your fault, learn from it. Learn from it. Because now it's over. Now you have to restart your life and you have to move forward. So forgive yourself, heal, do what you need to do to build a strong support system. Trust God. He's got you. Look at what the purpose is, learn your lessons, and get going with your life again. If you need help, I am here to help you. Um, I do have one-on-one coaching available. You can visit me at www.aprilelle.com. And again, I have to remind you to go and purchase one of my journals, um, Life After the D, Not Your Average Girl, or Wake, Pray, and Affirm. Wake, Pray, and Affirm is very good because it helps you to shift your mindset every day to something positive, to keep it positive. I hope that you have gotten something out of my story today. I hope that I've said something that sparks something in you. Thank you for watching. If you know anyone who could benefit from this, please share this with them. And again, you can get in contact with me at aprilelle.com, or you can email me at coachapril@gmail.com. All right. So Now that I've told you all my business, like, comment, subscribe, share, and let me know what you think. All right. Until the next episode, I'm Coach April Elle. Everybody take care.